Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz is not exactly having the most relaxing Thanksgiving week, and in fact, he is raging this week of Thanksgiving against pretty much everyone and everything that he can rage against. During an interview on Steve Bannon's podcast this week, Matt Gaetz went off the rails on everything from Kevin McCarthy to Jack Smith, the new special prosecutor that's going to be looking into Donald Trump. But about Kevin McCarthy, Matt Gaetz, for some reason, is on this crusade to make sure that Kevin McCarthy does not become Speaker of the House, to the point where Gaetz has even suggested making Tulsi Gabbard, who is no longer a member of Congress, the Speaker of the House. Yes, that is allowed by the rules, but that's just how desperate Matt Gaetz is to not let Kevin McCarthy get that gavel. So here is what Gaetz said in his interview with Bannon. 5 members, which include myself, Andy Biggs, Bob Good, Matt Rosendale, and now most recently Ralph Norman, have all come out and said that our no vote on McCarthy is firm. It was not just a no vote within the Republican conference, it is a no vote we intend to carry to the floor. Republicans are expected to hold a 4-seat majority. So 5 of us saying publicly we have no intention of voting for McCarthy, we are firm in our opposition to him, well, that ought to trigger a realization among Republicans that we need a consensus candidate. There are enough of us now, a critical mass standing up as a bulwark against this ascension to the speakership. Wow, you seem pretty angry about having a majority in the House. I don't get it. Well, I guess I do get it a little bit. See, the last time Matt Gaetz had a majority of Republicans in the House of Representatives was his first term. He was a freshman, nobody knew who he was, nobody cared what he was. And then by the time people started to pay attention to him and he felt like he had a little bit of power, Republicans lost their majority and he's been in the minority ever since then. So now in his 4th term, he's getting the majority back, and by God, he wants some damn power. He wants somebody that's going to listen to him, and I don't think Kevin McCarthy puts too much stock into what Matt Gaetz has to say. Furthermore, I think Matt Gaetz would prefer to have one of his Freedom Caucus buddies sitting in that speakership position because it would mean that Matt Gaetz personally would get more out of it. Like that, at the end of the day, is what this is all about. Matt Gaetz wants more power. Kevin McCarthy probably isn't going to give him that power, so he wants to put one of his buddies in charge, like Jim Jordan, so that Jordan will give him all the favors that he wants. This isn't about protecting the Republican Party. It's not about any real grievance against Kevin McCarthy other than Matt Gaetz doesn't get what he wants. And if there's one thing we've learned from spoiled little frat boys like Matt Gaetz, when they don't get what they want, they go into these massive temper tantrums like what he had on Tuesday on Bannon's show. And of course, that wasn't the end of it. No, Matt Gaetz then went into his tirade about Jack Smith, the special prosecutor, saying we're going to defund the special prosecutor's office, which for the record isn't a thing that Congress can do. See, funding for the DOJ is already allocated for the next 12 months. So you literally can't do a single thing about them funding that special prosecutor's office. And if you try to strip the funds from them in the next budget, even though you've only got, that 4-vote majority in the House, like you say, so you're not even going to get that. But even if you did, the DOJ would just reallocate money from a different area to fund that. Or, now hear me out on this one, Matt, because I know this is complicated for you, or Democrats in the House would strike a deal with just, 4 Republicans to get them to come up with a deal to fund the special prosecutor's office. You're not going to win on this one. You can whine and cry and piss and moan about it all you want, but you're still a loser. Even though your party won the House, you're still a loser. You've always been a loser, and you're always going to be a loser. And that's what pisses you off the most. One of today's video sponsors is Rhone. Let's face it, guys, finding clothes that fit right and look good is way harder than it should be. Now, I've always struggled to find good quality clothing that has the perfect fit that can go from business to casual at a moment's notice. But Rhone has solved that problem for me. The dress shirt was due for a radical reinvention, and Rhone stepped up to the challenge. Rhone's commuter shirt is the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible shirt known to man, and here's why. Rhone's comfortable 4-way stretch fabric provides breathability and flexibility that leaves you free to enjoy what life throws your way, from your commute to work to your 18 holes of golf. It's time to feel confident with a wrinkle-free shirt without the hassle. With Rhone's wrinkle release technology, wrinkles disappear as you stretch and wear the shirt. It's that easy. With Gold Fusion anti-odor technology, you'll be smelling fresh and clean all day long, and on top of that, Rhone is 100% machine washable, so you can ditch the dry cleaner altogether. In addition to Rhone's dress shirts, I also love their t-shirts, and with cold weather arriving, their long sleeve tee is perfect for a crisp fall day. So head to Rhone.com/ROF and use promo code ROF to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE.com/ROF and use code ROF. It's time to find your corner office comfort.